I guess today, when you were talking about like Osho and his experience with him and stuff, I guess what it reminded me of, or what I've been thinking about, was kind of like about attachment and like
About what?
attraction.
About what? Sorry, sorry.
Attachment and attraction, kind of
Yeah.
like they're the same thing. Kind of like I guess like would you consider them the same?
Hang on, just
Sort of like.
give me a moment to contemplate that.
Sure.
No, I wouldn't consider them the same. I think that they often come together. So I wouldn't say that attachment and attraction are the same, but often, especially when there's identification, they are the same thing. So you're attached to the attraction. So you're attracted to another person, and then there is attachment in there. You're attracted to a cake, and then there is attachment in there. And what to me attachment is the belief that you will find freedom in that object. So that's what the person is always looking for. Where is freedom? Where is freedom? And freedom is what you are. Freedom is the I am and the empty looking. It's everything. And then the attachment is the idea that that freedom can be found in an object. And that's what the person is always doing. It's always seeking freedom in an object. Freedom is your essence. Freedom is that which is experiencing. Freedom is that which is beyond form and is all form. You can unmute now, Sean.
Sure, yeah. I guess just thinking about kind of like seeking. I guess the idea of like seeking is kind of like attraction, like obviously looking
Yeah,
around, kind of that sort of idea.
yeah.
I guess yeah, that's quite interesting. I guess it's kind of like linked to um what you were saying about like it like fading. I guess when you said like when people get in lines or something, like people's desires
Yeah,
and stuff kind of fade or like
yeah,
become less important.
yeah, totally. Yeah, they do. They become less important because they've always been built on the premise that that if you achieve this, you will achieve society's happiness. So if you get this, you will make it into the happy land of society. So society, because we're born into this life, and then what to do? Like, we know that we have to get food, but our societies, most of us, well, not most of us actually, the small percentage of us in Western society, it's abundant. So then our parents have to teach us how to carry on with this abundancy, to have enough food, to have shelter, to have all these things that we just take for granted. And so then they teach us how we fit into the society and how we become productive in order to get that abundance back. And and then they also sell it as not that. They sell it as our happiness. So they sell it as a good job is our happiness. Having lots of things is happiness. Having a partner is happiness. And then not
Sure.
happiness.
Yeah, I was gonna say kind of like with society and like the expectations. I guess like it's kind of like how like kind of like nationalism, or I guess like even like marriage, like how different nations
Yeah,
have like different ways of like getting people together, and like there's always that sort of
yeah,
like attachment to like nationality that kind of
yeah,
is like the
yeah,
ego
yeah,
feeling that I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
people get.
totally. Yeah, like and I mean, like nationalism is such an interesting phenomenon because, like, why is it that certain people get to earn, like, get to keep certain amounts of land, like, in the idea of property, like that we get to own things. It's, I mean, like, this all has such a big impact in the way that we look at happiness, like that we can own things. Of course, we can't own things. That's such a ridiculous notion. But because our society has all these contracts and this exchange of money, then we feel like we own things, but we really don't own things. And this attributes to our suffering the idea that these are these things give me happiness, and these things give me safety. So nationalism is such a weird thing that we own a country. I understand there's no way out of it at the moment. Like, if we opened up all the borders, it would be a disaster. We can't just do that. But it's such a crazy idea that people own countries, that people own property, and it creates so much hatred and competition between us that's not necessary. There is a different way of doing it. I'm not talking about communism, because I can see, like, with communism, how that can harbor creativity. Like, that's not the answer either.
Sure, I guess like nationalism is like a really physical or like yeah, like a physical way of like seeing things,
Yeah,
I guess. And I guess like it's not really just like psychological and stuff.
yeah,
And so it's kind of like I guess like the idea of freedom of speech is like quite important to me. I guess in regards to like nationalism. I guess if
yeah. Freedom of
people are
speech.
gonna like share like
Yeah.
their feelings and stuff.
So it's so important for freedom of speech. We don't recognize that enough. We're in this small gap. There isn't quite freedom of speech, but we're in this small gap in society, you know, with the evolution of YouTube, where it's becoming more able to have free speech, but it's not totally free speech because Google and YouTube are controlling it. But it's so important. And I know it's really painful because I don't like some things that some people say, but it's really important that they have the space to say that, because the opposite of controlling speech, of controlling thoughts, is way worse. So like I don't like you know, I wouldn't really like to hear people being racists or being sexist or like all these things I wouldn't like, but I much prefer having that than not having free speech. Much prefer. I think it's really terrible, like the leftists trying to control free speech.
Sure, sure. I guess people have a kind of like internal reaction to freedom of speech as well. Like I
Yeah.
guess like it's kind of like something that
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
repulsive
showing.
sometimes hearing people's ideas, like so much hate and so much like venom. Like I don't like hearing everybody's ideas all the time. But if it wasn't for that, like if it wasn't for this current shift that's happened in society, things like Osho would never come through. Things like non-duality wouldn't come through. So, you know, all these things, like the AIs, the work they're doing with the AIs now, the
Sure.
YouTube, all these things wouldn't have had the possibility to come through. Like the power of our minds and creativity and breaking rules and stepping outside of the box is like, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. But I also realize if we were constantly in if we were constantly in chaos and anarchy, then there would be problems as well. So it's like that balance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was great. What you said. I guess yeah, I kind of like relate obviously this to like sort of philosophy as well. So obviously, kind of like how attraction is important, but I guess like then there's like this the self that's like the source of things. So I guess that's like
Yeah,
more important in a sense. But I guess
yeah.
that's like yeah. So yeah, I
You
mean
you could
that's
say
cool. I'll
that
probably
attraction. You could say attraction is like the way that God or life is animating our bodies. Like if you used it as like wants or urges, or like, so say like a beaver's attraction to trees or a beaver's attraction to water, it is also like the way we're animated, like the bird's attraction to fruit or food or seeds or whatever it is. So
sure.
attraction is our animation in a way, but the attraction is always varying, like it's expanding and it's changing, and that's what makes this diverse life forms.
Yeah, sure. I definitely see that. I guess it's like how like rather than seeing us as humans, like we're just our desires, or we're just like the energy is like it desires things, like it's
Yeah,
like subject object. I guess not really
yeah.
that, but I guess
And
it's like A to B.
it's beautiful when you get down to the base of desire. So the base of that movement, it is love. It's like love speaking.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
it is like when you really purely and without fear, without judgment, without a need to get it, it is like a pure energy of love. Well, that's how I feel it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like altruistic. I guess it's something that I see it as
Yeah,
well. Like how some animals do that as well, but I guess it's like special circumstances or whatever,
yeah,
which is cool.
yeah. You have such an open mind, Jamil, and I have the sense, I don't think I've ever seen you, but I have the sense that you're quite young as well. It's really a
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful quality.
I think like the first time you spoke, like you saw a picture of me, and like I was like quite young, and I was like I'm only like 24, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a very open mind.
I try, yeah, I do try, and you have a very open mind as well. So
Thank
that's
you.
nice.
Yeah. Oh, lovely to speak with you, Jamel. Or Sean, sorry.
Yes, yes, yes. You too. You too.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Bye.